This podcast contains discussions about sensitive topics, including mental health, alcohol and substance use, as well as suicide. It may also include strong language. The viewpoints expressed by guests do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the hosts. Listener discretion is advised. If you or someone you know needs support, please reach out to a trusted professional or a helpline. Welcome to Twist the Throttle, the podcast where we crank open the throttle on life's toughest rides. From mental health struggles to life on two wheels. We're here to have real, raw, unscripted conversations that break the stigma and help you navigate the road ahead. So grab your helmet, hit the road with us, and remember, it's still okay to pump the brakes. Together, we're shifting gears on mental health. Here's your hosts, Ambo and the Prez.
Well, welcome back, listeners, to another episode of Twist the Throttle. This week we've got Tayla, the other half of Family First. How are you, Taylor?
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Welcome back, mate. We've got your husband in the room who's going to do his best to stay quiet for us.
Really?
There will be a voice that pops up occasionally, I'm sure. So, you're back. You came in. You were sitting in, now you're in the hot seat. We had a bit of a chat. You've got a hell of a story to tell. A couple of trigger warnings on this one.
Yes,
Yeah.
lots of trigger warnings.
But we like to start slow. What are you riding at the moment?
I ride a Street 500, still on my learners.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you liking it?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
good
it.
fun, isn't it?
Yeah. It's, my dad passed away 3 years ago this year, and he rode forever, my entire life.
Yep.
And then one day I looked at Brendan and I'm like, nah, I'm going to do it.
You going to do it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Fuck it. I'm going to do it.
So how far off are you getting your P's?
I need to go for my
Check ride.
check ride
Yeah.
pretty soon.
Yeah.
And then I think it's by September.
Perfect. Planned upgrade to the bike after?
I do. I'm a bit of an Indian Scout fan.
Oh, no.
Okay, thanks a lot for coming on, Taylor.
This is the shortest interview we've ever done.
But the new Harley that's just come out, it's the old style.
Okay.
I think it's a heritage.
Yeah, that was what I had.
Yeah, we'll love it.
Beautiful bike. Just don't put ape hangers on it.
Yeah, no thanks.
Or an airbag.
I'm too short.
The airbag was, it was so much fun to ride that bike in a straight line.
It was a straight line bike.
It was 100%, it looked pretty and that was it.
It was
Yep.
a bit scary going around corners when you're bouncing around corners. Not really cool.
Dream bike, if you had absolute no limit on your funds, what would you get for a dream bike?
I haven't really thought about that, actually. I kind of just thought about the next one.
Brendan's got 7 planned in his head. I can see them.
So what's something about you that people wouldn't expect just by looking at you? Firstly, you're a motorbike rider.
Yeah, that's probably a good one. Another one would be, well, all the shit that we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
So
What's one small thing recently that made you smile?
my husband, every day.
That's the sweetest thing.
That's
I've ever
pretty
heard.
cute. Look at you both.
Should I let you see?
He drives me insane, but every day without fail, he'll try.
That's good. So if we met 8-year-old version of you, what would she be doing and dreaming about?
As my story goes on, I don't remember a lot of my childhood. I've kind of chosen to
Blanked
block
it
a
out.
lot of that out. But the things I do remember, I was pretty independent. I knew what I wanted,
Yep.
and I'm not much different now.
Yep.
So, yeah, I was who I am now when I was quite young.
Yep.
So,
One thing about your youth that I was surprised to learn, bit of a singer.
yes, that's something I don't tell anyone, actually.
So not just a singer, you were part of the Johnny Young Talent Time.
Yes, I
Yeah.
was.
So
That was.
did you actually make it onto the TV show?
No, I
Yeah.
didn't. He kind of had stopped that
I was
by
going
the
to
time
say,
I'd
like,
started.
you don't sort of fit that age bracket. I do. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know about it at
Yeah,
all.
so people who didn't know, Johnny Young was a famous singer, sort of, and a teacher, and he had a show on TV that was like a bit like a talent show for kids. So
Yeah, right,
to
cool.
get into the Talent Time school was a
Big thing.
big deal.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah.
so there's obviously some talent there.
Yes, I don't do a lot of it. And when I do, it's very secret in the shower or in the car, and choose not to do it in front of Rendon. That's one thing I've hidden for a long time.
I think we all sing in the car, don't we?
Yeah, on the bike. That's why I turn the comms off sometimes. I got to hang on. I got to sing this song out.
Do you feel like you had a childhood for long, or did life start pretty early with what we're about to go into?
I feel like my family made my childhood a childhood as much as they could. But my sister was 7 years younger than me, so when she come along, I kind of just hung around with my grandparents and did that kind of stuff. I still had a childhood, but I was kind of like an only child, sort of. So Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
We opened our show with a few warnings. We are going to be diving into some pretty deep topics today, including your abuse from a very young age. Please only go as far as you're comfortable, and we will stop recording if need be. Any breaks if you decide.
Awesome. Thank you.
So you spent a lot of your time with your grandparents. What kind of stability and support did they give you?
My grandfather, it's a huge part of my life,
Yeah.
and always has been. He's taught me lots and lots of really important life skills. I was working since my mum pretty much had me. My mum would take me along with her to the market, and we'd do the market every Sunday and earn some money that way. And when Brendan met me, I was still doing it then. So, yeah, he's invested lots
So,
of...
so we've stolen you today away from your second job, yeah?
Well, they don't do them anymore. They're all closing down.
Oh, that's
It's
great.
broken my heart a little bit.
So what were you doing at the market?
My pa runs a carpets and rugs business,
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
which my mum's taken over now because he's been diagnosed with dementia. So that's, sort of fading out a little bit now. And in Australia, it's all imported now anyway. So
You can have a chat with Ambo, who's building a rug.
Yeah, I'm building a
His
rug.
lounge room at the moment.
It's nearly finished.
oh, there you
A
go.
Bit of tufting machine going off in the lounge room.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's kind of come along quite well, actually.
Yeah.
Got to get back onto it. I'm procrastinating a little bit.
Okay.
So we've spoken.
One of the 14 different projects you've got on the go.
Yeah, I know. I keep adding to it. I need to stop adding to it. I'll be right.
Not he keeps adding to it, I keep adding to it.
So you've spoken about blocking out some of the abuse for years. Do you remember a moment you first sensed that something wasn't right?
No, not well, actually, that's a lie. The day that my abuser died,
Yeah.
I kind of just went,
Yeah.
bit of a breath of fresh air, and karma bit you in the ass. And that's how I look at a lot of my life. Karma's going to come back and get you. So,
I
yeah.
believe in karma as well.
Yep.
What was your initial emotional reaction for those memories starting coming back? Was it confusion, fear?
I've had a lot of them over the years, even more recently, a lot more as well, which I can delve into a bit deeper later. But it's just, I block so much out of it out that even now some things happen, or a smell or a sound, and I go, oh, wow. And I go rushing back to tiny little memories that aren't even clear,
Yeah.
which is hard. But recently I found out that my biological dad is actually, my dad that brought me up is actually not my biological dad,
Oh, wow.
which has also painted an amazing picture of who I am and why I am the way I am. And I'm a stepmom too. So
Yeah.
I love my dad for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't resent him for kind of keeping it from you for
No, I
a long
love the
time?
fact he kept it, because I then couldn't be that teenager that turned around and goes, you're not my
Yeah,
dad
yeah, okay,
anyway.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I was probably that teenager.
Yeah.
So, and he spent lots of time with me. He showed me how to change my wheels on my car.
Yeah,
and
good.
do
Yeah.
all the good
What a
stuff.
proper dad's meant to do.
Yeah, yep. And everyone asks me, even when I tell this story, do you want to know who your real dad is? I don't need to open a new book.
Yeah.
I don't want to open a new
No, I'm
family.
happy with the dad I've got.
I love the fact that there's probably someone out there that could explain more who I am,
Yeah.
but nah, that's,
I think outside of like medical history,
yeah.
what to get offer?
Yeah.
And that's my opinion.
We're just starting a new book, like you said.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And meeting a whole new massive family.
Yeah.
Like, no thanks.
Yeah.
We have enough people in our lives that,
Yeah.
Especially-
I had my dad left young, but he was sort of around, but never really in my life as much. And then he sort of came back when I was 18 and was like, oh, I'm your dad. And I'm like, well, you're not, but you may have done stuff, but like, that's not the role that you were supposed
It's
to.
a tagline, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
So as a child, did you ever try and speak up, or was it silence?
I stayed quiet for a very, very long time. I actually told my mum, I remember, I think it was the day or the day after my abuser had died, and my mum kind of probably went into this bit of a panic of what do I do now? Like, and it would have been a big shock. And we went through some steps, and I went and got checked by the Children's Hospital and all those things. So my mum tried really, really hard. We don't talk about it now.
Yeah.
I don't really talk about it with anyone unless someone says to me,
Yeah.
and I can relate,
Yeah.
and I can share my story and go, I get that. I know how that feels. I can help. Yeah. So I just kind of play it by ear with life. And
Yeah. Oh, you're doing great things. So we're going to cover off what you're doing now a bit, but we're just trying to build who you are a little bit for our audience.
Yep.
So at the time, looking back there, was there anyone, teachers or neighbours or relatives that you could have trusted to talk to about it, or did you kind of just internalise it all?
I think also back then it probably wasn't something that spoke about as much as it is these days. And there's not a lot of, back then there wasn't a lot of knowledge around it, and it was all kept under the rug and behind closed doors. And I don't even know why I didn't say anything for so long.
Yeah.
I can't even pinpoint. I should have.
Yeah.
Everything would have changed. But maybe how that was going to look on me was a thing that I didn't.
Yeah, there's a bit of, you kind of blame yourself for it.
Yeah.
It's quite a common thing. We've had a few children of abuse is what I'm trying to get to.
Yep.
It's little things that trigger, like you say, like roll over and cuddle at night and maybe put my hand somewhere that wasn't, was a trigger, like it's not she's just like freaks.
And you can't even explain it.
Yeah,
when
she
it
goes, I don't know what it is. Please cuddle me.
I did do that to Brendan not long ago, and I lost it. Lost it, and I couldn't even talk through it. I didn't even know what was going on. And then when I really thought about it, I'm like, no, this come rushing back right in that moment, which hasn't happened forever. Like I haven't had something so traumatizing come back so quickly. And I was like, I don't know. Lucky I had him, because if I didn't, I probably wouldn't have walked.
Talk you through
it. Wouldn't have been able to get through it. It was a lot.
The brain is a fucking crazy thing, isn't it?
The way it can recall things that you don't even know that you know is phenomenal for me. Like it's one of my fascinations with mental health is how we process things and how it all
and how your
gets
brain,
stored away.
How your brain just shuts things off and makes things disappear. And
like pain is another one. Yeah, like when you hurt yourself, your brain goes like, this hurts so much we're not even going to tell you. It's like you're in pain, but we've got this.
I remember my dad telling me a story about one of my uncles or one of his uncles or something chopped his toe off mowing the lawns. Didn't know until he finished.
See, that could be trauma too. Like I'm very, very, very good with pain. I broke my elbow and waited 2 days to go to the hospital, but that's only because I couldn't straighten it.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Pain's probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's all tied together.
So that time just before your sister was born, what do you remember the most about your emotions at that time?
Couldn't tell you a single thing.
Oh,
I don't
really?
even remember it.
Yeah.
Completely blocked.
I don't even really remember my mum pregnant.
Yeah.
I remember right at the end, and I remember what she looked like, but that was it. I couldn't even tell you what my life was really like.
Yeah. So what's your relationship with the child you were back then like now? Is it like, are you trying to heal her, or are you just
still trying to heal?
Trying to find her, really?
Lots of healing still. I do lots of like card reading, and I do a lot of crystal work and things like that, just to, I guess, sometimes remember some things too.
Yeah, just a bit of deep meditation type stuff. Yeah, it's great.
But fitting that in life's also.
I have exactly 30 seconds to reach enlightenment today.
Yep.
So what helped you feel less alone as an adult? Survivor therapy, stories, or other people?
I'm even now being educated around mental health, I'm a really massive believer in holistic approach.
Yeah.
So I did like lots of hobbies and sport, and that's pretty much where my mind went, keeping busy all the time. So then I didn't have the time to think about those things, but also from being traumatized and things like that, I got an illness, which kept me bedridden for quite a bit of time as well. So
what do you think more people understood about our childhood abuse victims?
I'm glad that things have changed now in 2025, that more people are willing to talk about it. There's probably a little bit more help surrounding that alone instead of everything else that comes with it, like depression and all
little
of
bit less
it.
stigma about actually bringing it up as well.
Yeah, and talking about it.
People know how to deal with it better now, I guess.
Yeah, and it's a bit more, it's not hidden anymore. I think more and more people that talk about it, it is happening, and it is still happening these days. So that's,
so you work with children now. Has that been healing or confronting or a bit of both?
Probably more healing. My 15 years in my career has been surrounding myself with children that I could teach these things quite early and look for those signs. And I haven't come across any children in my 15 years in my career that have been through something like that. So that's also a bit comforting.
If you see some kids that need help, you reach out and marry their dad and stuff.
If you don't know that one, go back to the episodes, or you'll find Brendan, Family First, have a listen to this podcast. You'll figure it all out.
Sorry. Had to get that in.
So how did your ADHD and dyslexia affect how people saw you in school?
School was tough. School was really tough. I guess I was a bit introverted in a sense. Like I am me and
Yeah.
you get who I am in and out, but I can be very introverted and
Yeah.
quiet and when I want to be. School, I used to doodle on everything and not pay attention, as the teachers would call it.
Yeah.
How old were you when you got your diagnosis?
I was old. My mum and my grandfather pushed and pushed because
Yeah.
there was something wrong. Like I couldn't retain information. I wasn't learning. I wasn't getting anywhere. I
Yeah.
was doodling all the time.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
teachers were saying, she's not concentrating, she's not listening, which I wasn't. I was completely, I wasn't one of those kids that could listen and learn.
Often,
I was just
yeah.
doodling and off in my own little.
Yeah, I had a partner that had dyslexia, and I had to do like all the read all the forms and like help her through like that type of things. It was,
Yeah.
We just found out my daughter Katie that we were just talking about from Manchester has the same thing but for numbers.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's-
Dyspraxia, I think.
Yeah,
it's called.
I can't remember. She did tell me what it was, tacalculia or something.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was just like, I've never heard of that, but that actually tracks. That makes
Yep.
sense. Yeah. She goes, I'm like, it's not that I'm bad with money. Like the money looks okay, and then I go to do it, and it doesn't work out how I thought it would because
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The numbers all changed.
yeah, my numbers are different now. Like, yeah.
Couldn't do my job. I'm looking at container numbers all day long.
Yeah, no. I don't do numbers or English actually now that I really think about it. And
Yeah.
if they had delved a bit deeper, I reckon I
Probably
probably
would
have the
have it.
same problem with maths too.
I'm not, it's not a diagnosis of bad with numbers. I'm just really shit with money.
I think we all have that.
Was there ever a moment where you felt truly understood or mostly judged for your dyslexia and ADHD in school?
Probably not around my dyslexia in school. It was more just being bullied for the
Yeah.
size I was, or my first day of year 7, I had a broken leg, so I was on crutches. Lucky me.
all it takes for a nickname to stick for your whole life.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Yep, definitely. So a lot of mine was probably the way I looked.
Yeah.
I was a lot more tanned than a lot of the kids where I grew up, and I used to get called all sorts of names. I'm, not the thinnest person, but I am who I am, and that's what I went with for 2 years of high school. And then by year 9, this same kid kept going and going, and I pinned him up against the lockers one day and lost it. And that was it. Everyone left me alone after that. And I vividly remember that moment.
Confront the bullies, and it goes away sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you decided to stop trying to fit in and just survive at school in your own way?
I never ever fit with the typical groups ever. And then once I kind of found my people, which a lot of the time were a group of boys, I'd go and play footy or I'd just hang out with them. They were my people.
Way less
And-
complicated.
Yeah, they were my people for a lot of my heart until I left in year 9, year 10,
Yeah.
end of year 10. Yeah, they were my people. They were my safe place. My parents loved them. That's where we'd hang out.
Yeah.
They were my safe place, but I also made bad decisions along the way with them. So I cured a lot of my trauma with alcohol.
Yeah.
So I was diagnosed alcoholic at 18.
Yeah. So you got into the party life. When did it go from being party fun to this could be a problem?
I couldn't even tell you that either. I didn't really party in the sense of go out into town, ride myself off, not remember how I used to get home. It used to be at a friend's house, drink until I passed out pretty much. So I was always safe. I think I was always mindful of being safe. But I can't really remember a time that I went, this is a problem. I was probably 18.
Yeah. So diagnosed alcoholic at 18. What's your relationship with alcohol like now?
I've got to be very, very careful. Like I had a conversation with my teenagers yesterday. I can walk past the bottle shop every day and still want to walk in there. I've just got to be very careful. I can have a weekend where I do binge and I'm still okay, but Brendan's mindful of it too. So I just make sure that,
Your guardian angel on your shoulder.
You're pretty sensible. You don't take to extremes anymore. You can have a couple of wines. And
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky in that sense that I
Yeah.
can control it now. If I got on the daily drinking, that would be it, and I know that, so I
Yeah.
don't do it.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had a drink for 3 years for that reason. I think having one would just open a door that I would work really hard to close. So,
Yeah. Yep, that's
Yeah,
fair enough,
yeah.
and it's that relationship.
Everyone's like, oh, it's stronger if you can just show us you can have one.
No,
Like,
it doesn't.
No.
It may be, but it's not going to work for me.
No, that's right.
Yeah. So I'm not even going to try and pronounce this word.
Fibromyalgia.
Fibromyalgia. It's an invisible pain, they say. So you were dealing with this pain for a long time before anyone had any answers. At one point, you were diagnosed with glandular fever. I've had that diagnosis myself. Did that experience feed into your confusion around your health?
Yeah, very much so. I was left. Mum gave me the option to leave school. I think it was the end of year 9, start of year 10, and said, "You've got 2 weeks to get a job. If you don't get a job, you're going back to school." I was not going back to school.
Cool.
So I got a job in hospitality and was working in a cafe. And from what the doctors seem to think, it's from touching people's spoons and not washing my hands regularly enough. I got glandular fever. I was sick for 3 months-ish, and 3 weeks of that, I don't remember my life. I was hallucinating. I was sweating. I probably got a pretty bad case, and I was at home, and no one really could tell you what was wrong back then.
Do they tie in together, the two?
They do now. When you do some research, a lot of people that are diagnosed with fibromyalgia have had glandular fever in their time, and I do freak out if anyone goes, "Oh, I've got glandular fever." I'm like, stay away from me.
The cross comes off the fridge.
When fibromyalgia.
Fibromyalgia.
I can't even say.
Is there a short?
Just called it fibro.
Fibro?
Yeah, let's go with fibro.
When fibro finally was diagnosed, what did that moment feel like for you? Was it relief, grief, or a bit of frustration?
It was probably all of them. And I'm not actually insane. I'm not making this up. I'm actually generally in pain. The test to be diagnosed was a neurologist pushing on all my pain sensors in my body, and I had 88% of them out of 99.
Wow.
So even now, Brendan can push like on certain parts of my knee and I'll just hit the roof.
Yeah.
And I don't know every day that it's like I'm in pain every day, but it's a hard pain to describe because I can still manage.
In your own words, what could you describe the day-to-day?
My back pain is like an ache, a constant high ache.
Yeah.
My arms can ache, my hands can tingle. I don't get a lot in my legs, but a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Mine are my ankles, but I've had ankle damage problems from dancing and from basketball anyway, so that could be, it's hard to actually distinguish what's what. The pain changes every day too. Like I can wake up tomorrow and I'll feel great, and then I'll do 3 hours of housework and I will just fall into a heap.
Is the good days scary, like because you're not sure, like you know that the bad days sort of follow on it, or
very much so. Like today we've done not a lot for a day for us. I've folded washing, I've just done general housework. Tomorrow I'll go to work, and then the next day I'll probably be suffering and have a really slow day.
So for you, the pain scale, is it 1 to 10, or is there like anything in between, or is it like sometimes it's not so bad, like your back pain's not that bad?
It depends again. Like I can wake up and my pain will be 10 in my back.
Yep.
I can wake up and I'll be at a 5, and then I do about 5 jobs and I'm at a 10.
Right.
A lot of the time it's around like my upper back, and it's a burn. It's like a real sharp burn, and it's consistent. And those days.
But then you've been tested for your back issues and there's nothing there, no problems at all.
No.
So describe fibro to us. Like, so is it a brain thing or just a nerve thing?
They say it's just a brain thing. There's nothing actually. So when I was first diagnosed, I was given an antidepressant that takes away that pain trigger in your brain. That worked really well, but it made me completely numb.
Yeah.
So I stayed on that for 3 years and managed my depression that went with it, obviously, because every day was different. I was waking up and I was only young. I was 18. And it worked really well. It got me through that. And then one day I went, I don't want to live on drugs for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I don't want to be taking, and I'm terrible at taking daily medication, no matter what it is. And I don't want to live my life also not being able to distinguish between that pain daily. Like if I wake up today, I know I can't do too much. I push through every day, no matter what. Go to work with children all day. Yeah. Some days I get home and I sit in the bottom of the shower and I just cry because of the pain. It's not because of anything else. It's just the pain.
It's legitimate, burn it.
Panadol doesn't take it away. Nothing doesn't take it away. Sleep. I don't feel pain while I'm asleep, but it just depends on how much rest I get. I'm pretty good at managing it now. Yeah. It's taken me a long time to get there, but as soon, like, my body's really sore today, and that's probably because I've done too much for the last month.
Right.
It's a lot.
Oh, it's a lot. I'm just trying to...
So you were handed a bunch of scripts after diagnosis. Did you feel like they were treating the condition, or you were just trying to silence the symptoms?
a bit of both, and I'm a massive pushback type of person. So the neurologist did their checks and all of that and literally sat there, didn't say a word, went, yep, you've got 88% of these. Here are all these scripts. Goodbye on your way.
Wow.
Pushed me out the door at 18. And I was like, okay. I went home and I was like, what just happened? And I sort of spoke to my mum about it. And she's like, my mum's just goes with the flow, listens to the doctors, that type of thing as you do as a parent. And I was like, nah. So I sat there and I Googled and I did lots and lots of Googling. Lyrica was another one that they prescribed me at 18. And that was the first one I Googled, and then I didn't Google the rest. And they were like, highly addictive. And
I was on Lyrica for my back when I broke my back.
Yeah.
Bad one.
Yeah. So that was scary enough for me. I went, I don't need to add that. I've already got an addictive personality. I've already done it with the drinking.
Yeah.
I don't need to add that as well. So I didn't even go there. I took the Cymbalta. That was it.
The Cymbalta was...
And that helped.
Was that the antidepressant one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it did.
You said it numbed you a bit, and what actually made you decide to stop, just wanting your life back, yeah?
It numbed me that I'm quite an emotional person. Like, I'll cry at the drop of a hat talking about something. I'm surprised I actually haven't cried yet.
We do have the roll of toilet paper handy.
And I'll get mad, which is also part of it as well. I'll get really angry from 0 to 100 for no real apparent reason to outsiders, but there is something there that I'm getting mad at. But it covered all that. I didn't have anything. Yeah. I just sort of felt like...
Not just highs and lows, just... No.
Yeah. And I went, nah, I don't want to do this anymore. And I come off it for 2 years and didn't take anything. And then when I moved up here, I was a bit lost, I think, would be the word I'd call it. I didn't have a place that I felt like I fit. I'd just moved 2 hours away from my family, which was a great... Like, we'd done it for all the right reasons. I'd done it to support Brendan and get away from where we were. But... I couldn't get a job. I didn't have anything. Yeah. So that's where I unraveled again, and then found a GP up here, which supported me through it as well.
So looking back at that, what actually helped you more than the medication back then?
Again, keeping busy. Yeah. I'm one of those people that doesn't really stop. Everyone's like, you need to take a break for yourself. I'm like, I don't know what that is, and I never really have, unless my body has shut down and gone, you can't do this anymore. I don't. So I just keep going, and that's how I cope. Doesn't work for everyone.
You'd be busy with all the little kids around, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So you found purpose through childhood education. You chose to work with kids despite everything. What's kept you on that path, or why that path?
During my years in the sector as well, I kind of have figured out that I can help not only the child, I can help the families. So I've worked a lot with vulnerable families. I've worked a lot with families that are great but not great with certain things, a lot of parenting advice. No, I wasn't really a parent as such. I was a step parent, and I'd been since I was 18, but I could give lots of advice that parents would listen to. And simple things like teething. Yeah. Parents would just be like, I don't know what to do. And a simple, you can give them Panadol.
Dip your finger in some whiskey and rub it on the nose.
You can give them Panadol 4 hourly, and you can use Bonjela or whatever else.
Not Tayla. What am I talking about? Nurofen and Panadol. Yep. You can use them both. A lot of people didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, first-time parents, they just don't know these things. So it was it's nice for me to educate them as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're a bit of a leader in that way, I guess.
I've been a manager now, so I've done all the roles in early childhood that I can. I've hit the top 2, apart from being an area manager for a big company, but that's not my goal. I'm looking now at getting out of early childhood as its own and sort of do something a bit more around parent classes, parent teaching, that type of thing as well.
What's something children you've taught that unknowingly taught you in return?
Patience is a huge one. Yeah. Patience is a massive one. And just being calm. I will say that I'm a calm person, but I probably not. I can be quite highly strung too, but at work, I'm just calm and patient, and I try and take that home now that the boys are a lot older, but I was young and had all of that already. As I've gotten older, I feel like I've lost a lot of that, but going to work goes, hold on a minute, you need to be calm and you need to be patient. They're little people.
They can't scream. You can't scream and it doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't work.
Yeah, my education's a little bit different. I deal with adults, but I can be as calm as possible teaching somebody until they don't listen to me, and
Yeah.
I just lose my shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we've been over this. You'd be doing it right if I fucking go on fucking do it.
Yeah.
So let's go back to Brendan, loving the fire. You met Brendan young. You become a constant in
his kid's life.
Yeah, you became constant in this kid's life. What did that dynamic feel like for you at that time?
Back then it was very blurred, very, very blurred. We didn't ever put labels on it. What he was doing in his life, he was doing, and the choices he was making, and I actually didn't really know a lot of it was happening at the time.
Yeah.
My extent was I'd go after work, I'd hang out, I'd go home to my mum and dad's that I was still living at. I'd go over the next day if it was a weekend. I'd hang out there all weekend with the kids. I'd take them out. We'd do something fun. Brendan was always busy because of his habit and where he was at, and I just kept the kids busy. And then as time went on and his addiction went on, things got worse and worse and worse. The more and more people that I met coming in and out of our home, I was like, this isn't good for them.
Fair, yeah. So your priority was the kids from the start.
Yeah, and Brendan, when people ask, what made you fall in love with Brendan? Well, I didn't fall in love with Brendan at the beginning. It was the kids. For 3 years, it was the kids.
Yeah.
And forever, I'll always forever say that. It was those boys.
Yeah, yeah. And now you'll do it.
Yeah, now he's the love of my life.
That extra child you're looking after at the same time.
Yeah.
So you were working full-time, raising kids and navigating the storm behind closed doors. How did you not break?
Again, I think that was back to that, what did I learn from working with the kids? Patience.
Yeah.
I was patient. And no, I didn't, as I said, I didn't see a lot of what was going on until he was too far gone, I could say. He was in the midst of it and he wasn't hiding it anymore. Not so the kids didn't see anything, but from me, I'd walk in the garage and there'd be happily a pipe just sitting there.
Yeah.
He was hiding it for so long, 3 years almost he was turning.
Yeah.
So you
had no idea at that time?
I've got a pretty good
yeah.
reading people.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at that type of stuff. So I had an inkling that something wasn't quite right. I just couldn't put my finger on exactly what it was.
So you had somebody to, rely on back then you could confidently talk to about what was going on?
Nah, I didn't talk to anyone.
Nah.
Kept it to myself. My group of friends, I still had them around, but I started distancing myself because I was spending more time with the kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I didn't talk to anyone. I was pretty open with my mum about everything. So if outrageous things were happening while I was over there, I'd go home and tell my mum and didn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
I was very honest with my mum.
Yeah.
And then he'd start coming over to my house and visiting my mum, and he'd do some crazy stuff like ride a dirt bike from his house to my house, which was probably a 10-minute ride. No helmet. He did some pretty reckless stuff without a filter.
Yeah.
My mum's just like, who is this person?
This is not what we wanted for you.
Yeah. She actually never said that.
No.
I'll give that to her. She never, ever, ever talked badly or said anything.
So you said it was a bit like Sons of Anarchy. How do you even begin to live the normal in that kind of chaos?
I think I just adapted. I think I've got a good sense of, street life and just growing up the way I did and things I dealt with. I just made sure that those kids were safe at all times. I remember vividly opening the door when people would knock on it with our dog and a kitchen knife in my jeans. So it was just to keep them safe. That was my main priority. Keep them safe. That was it.
Yeah.
They're lucky they had you, by the sounds of it.
Brendan did a pretty good job. He was a functioning addict, so he'd still get them to school on time. He'd do all of those things, which was really good. It was just the times, the long weekends that everyone's at home and those things that I think made it hard, that we just kept them busy. I kept them busy. And
So part of ADHD is like empathy. So you mentioned like being able to get a good read on people. That's tied into that.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. Gets me out of a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
When did you finally click that Brendan's habit was linked to his addiction? Behavior was linked to his addiction.
Right at the end, he started spending more and more time away from home.
Yeah.
He knew the kids were safe, so he was not there a lot of the time. That's when I went,
This is not.
Yeah. And our house being raided the last time, that probably topped the cake.
You said the last raid, what made that one different? What was the line in the sand for you?
I'd seen the Brendan not high too. So I'd seen the,
Yeah, both sides.
warm, caring dad that he could be. Not that he wasn't when he was high. He was just probably a little bit less tolerant.
Yeah.
So seeing that, I knew who he was. I think that was probably a big one.
Yeah.
The topping on the cake we'd probably been through it about 3 times before that.
Yeah.
And had our house robbed and things like that. And, I didn't have anything really deep and meaningful to me in that house, but the kids did. And that's what topped the cake.
Yeah.
So I remember going home after I got the phone call from him and he said, I've been arrested again. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not coming back this time.
Yeah.
I went home, re-raided my own house, found everything that the police didn't. I packed everything I owned and left everything in garbage bags.
So you said you destroyed everything that you found.
Yep.
Yeah.
So all the drugs.
Was that out of rage or closure, or were you trying to protect Brendan?
Nah, definitely wasn't a protecting him thing, that's for sure. It was probably, what's the chances they've left drugs here for one?
Yeah.
And he's going to have a choice now.
Yeah.
And his choice was his kids, not me.
Yeah.
Never mentioned me. It was his kids or the life he was living. So
I knew there was drugs there. I knew there was drugs there.
And look, let's be honest, I probably didn't find them all either. So I did a good job at finding what I could. And
Better than the police.
yeah, which I don't think that's what they were actually looking for. So
I need to
all the utensils I could use to use those drugs.
smash them all in the laundry sink.
I need to get a photo of Brendan sitting here awkwardly in the corner while we talk about him.
So that night you gave him the choice. It was him or the drugs, or
Yeah,
he
him
chose
or the
it.
life.
him.
And I told him, I've rang your mother and you're not getting your kids back.
Yeah.
She's going to keep them.
Yep.
And I told him forever, I'll keep your kids.
So you were a big part of Brendan getting clean. What was like watching him go through detox or behind closed doors?
Brendan was very good at, I'm okay. And I took that.
Yeah.
I did take that. And I think he did a lot of it by himself. He'd send me to work still.
Yeah.
I'd come home and he'd be in the same spot.
Yeah.
So I think he did a lot of that by himself with, the kids were around. I was around on the weekends, trying to keep him busy, trying to get him back out of the house eventually when he could. But being where we were was very difficult.
Yeah.
He couldn't go out a lot of the time because everyone knew who he was.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it made it really, really hard. That's where I think maybe a week after or 2 weeks after he'd done some detoxing, I said, let's move.
Yeah.
Let's
That's
move
probably
and
the
get
best
away
thing,
from
yeah.
here. And it was the best thing we ever did for both of us, really.
Yeah.
Like, we've made a different life up here that we would never get back down there. My mum still lives down there in the same area and says to me all the time, are you coming back? I'm like, nope, definitely not.
Hard reset overall.
Yeah.
For both of you.
Yep.
Yeah. So you were the strong one. Has it been hard to finally admit that you were falling apart back then?
I don't think I fell apart then. I think I kept going. When I moved here, I fell apart.
Yeah.
That was probably tough. Not being able to work, not being able to get a job. Brendan was out doing his community service, going to the school, being the school dad, which he was good at, but I fell apart here.
Yeah.
So that was hard.
I remember talking in his interview about them linking one of the police officers with your work. Did that affect your work?
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
I'm shocked it didn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't there for much longer after. We pretty much packed up the house in 2-3 weeks and moved.
Yeah.
And I'd quit my job, which was fine. But I still laugh at that story to this day. Like,
He was shitting.
I wasn't involved in his life in that sense. I didn't know what was going on behind closed doors. I had an idea, but I also didn't know anything really. So, yeah, for someone to jump to those conclusions and put me in that category, and I would,
I guess it wasn't a personal thing. It's more of a protection thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You ended up with OCD, or as I like to call it, CDO, because that way they're all alphabetically correct. Yeah. So what was it like when you're feeling in your mind when that took over?
That was again at the same time as moving.
Yeah.
And I think she was just a counsellor. She saw me and she said, it was the only, this is why you do the things that you do. It's the only thing you can control.
Yeah.
You couldn't control so much of your life as a
It
child.
became very important to control what
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah. So it was everything. Even now, sometimes I've gotten better, but that's from Brendan going, you have to stop losing your shit because this isn't in the right spot. I'm like, I know that, but sometimes I can't control it. Like everything's got to be where it's got to be in a way. And then if I because my ADHD too.
And if it isn't?
Anxiety triggers.
If it isn't, I'm better now. I used to lose it.
Yeah.
I used to go from 1 to 100 in a second. Like I just used to lose it and at everyone.
Yeah.
I took it out on everyone, the kids, everyone.
One of my good friends, his wife was very severe OCD. And she came home one day and he'd like wiped down the bench top and like hadn't moved something. And she's like, why didn't you pick that up and clean it? He goes, because last time I did, I put it back on the wrong angle and you went nuts at me. So he goes, I was too scared to move it and fuck it up again. So,
Yeah.
And she goes, that was the point I realized I had to go do something about it. Because like, I was yelling at him because he didn't do it, and I yelled at him last time because he did do it, and like the poor guy had no idea which way to go. So
yeah, mine's not so much the way things are placed. Mine's that everything has to be away.
Yeah.
So if something has a spot, it has to be away. And I live with 6 men, 6 boys now. It doesn't ever happen.
No,
so Brennan's got me to the point now that I get him to chase them up. If I come out from having a shower and there's stuff all everywhere in my kitchen, and I want to rage, I just go to him and I say, can you deal with it? And he does.
Yeah, good.
So some days I still rage and I figured out he's been away and my eldest son's been away at my mother-in-law's while he's away, and they're my problem. And I
Life's
said,
good.
Yeah. Everyone else puts things away and it all runs really smoothly. And I said to them both when they came back, I said, okay, I figured it out. If you two just put your things away and don't take a chocolate wrapper and just leave it on the bench, put it in the bin,
then I'm not going to get
I
so
won't lose my shit.
You don't have to worry about where you sleep because I'm not going to kill you in your sleep for not putting your shoes away.
Yep.
Grief triggers and still standing. You've faced enormous grief. Your dad, Brendan's uncle, your friend's partner. How do you hold it all together?
I have so many kids. That's probably a big one. I have so many kids that I need to be strong for, and they see me cry. They see me get mad. I like to show my emotions so they know what they look like.
Yeah.
But we've also shared with them the loss as well, so they know what that's like. I didn't know what loss was like young. Yeah. I didn't really lose anyone till that first person that was my abuser anyway. So I was like, thank the Lord for that. That's my karma. I don't have to I lost great-grandparents and things like that quite young, but loss wasn't huge until these 3 people all at once sort of in the same year.
Yeah, it's a rough year.
Yeah.
What's the hardest truth you've had to face about yourself on this journey?
I'm not perfect just like everyone else, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like I think I'd been so in my own mind, I need to be perfect. I need to be this person. It's not who I am. I'm never going to be that person. Everyone's not, and that's okay.
Yeah. It's a good moment of reflection when you can go like, I am who I am.
Yeah.
And I don't have to apologize for that. Like, yeah. These are my beliefs. This is what I hold dear. Let me live me.
Yeah. That's a big one for me. Morals and beliefs.
Yeah. I love that. Do you still have days where the version of you in the car returned?
That was probably my suicide attempt, I think.
So we kind of missed that. We'll go back and we'll get that one in.
Yep.
So when did that happen?
I was probably in between 17 and 18. That's when in the midst of my pain and trying to get to work every day, and I couldn't actually do it back then. I was struggling. I'd call in sick all the time, things like that. And I was a pretty driven person to work and earn money, and I loved that part of my life. Yeah. Having some of my own money to go and spend. My mum and dad were really great. I had to save money, and I had my own spending money, which was nice. When I went to the doctor, I reckon it was the last time, and he said, it's all in your head. There's nothing wrong with you. I don't think he said it was all in your head, but that's what he was getting at.
Yeah, we can't find.
And I walked out in tears again, and I'm just like, I just don't know what else to do now. And I don't really remember driving home. I remember the end moment, and I'd hit this roundabout, and I'd squared up this tree, and I was like, that's it. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not living in pain for no answers. Like it's not in my head. I'm sore. Like I'm physically sore. I remember driving around the roundabout, and I can paint a clear picture of what that looks like. kind of don't remember anything else. I remember going back into the doctors
Mm.
and saying, you need to help me because I've had enough. I think my mum met me there at this point. And that was pretty much it.
Did you actually hit the tree? Or
No, I didn't.
just the moment,
It was
yeah.
that
that
thought.
intention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that thought that I'm done feeling like
Yeah.
this.
I think they call it the call of the void.
Oh, there you go. I didn't know that.
So if you'd be driving down the road and you're like, I could just.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, it's an ADHD thing.
There you go. I haven't had any serious moments like that again.
No,
I've probably had a
it's-
few.
It's part of that extremes. When you're happy, you're super happy. When you're sad,
Yeah,
you're super
Yeah.
sad. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
What's something you're proud of that no one else ever sees?
Something I'm proud of that people don't see. I guess people do see it. The person I am today, a lot of people wouldn't know this story because I don't talk about it unless as, again, bits of my story, unless they come up with people I relate to or we have a conversation and something comes up and I can go, yeah,
By the way.
I get it.
Yeah.
No one probably really knows all of my story together
Yep.
till now.
Until you went on a podcast.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
So the 7 people who listen will love it. Family First was born during lockdown. What was the spark behind that?
The spark behind that was my husband and his best mate sitting in our kitchen, I think it was. And I don't even know. Brendan just comes up with these ideas sometimes and we run with them, which is really nice. And I think we had a lot of people around us that were doing similar things,
Yeah.
but not with the same vision Brendan had. And then from there, we worked together to just be where we are today. And we're going to continue with that. So
Yeah.
So it's more than just an apparel company. It's
Has
it's
been.
a
So
purpose.
much more. So.
yeah, it has been.
Which future service feels most personal for you?
The mental health side of things.
Yeah.
We've also in our time done a lot of events, fundraising events for families that touch us. So we ask people to reach out if they need a hand. We've recently done a bullying one, a
Yeah.
right against bullying.
Yeah. So we were just talking about that. One of the young kids was getting bullied at school, so he organised a bunch of bikers to go pick him up. That was
Yep. Shock factor. We had parents asking questions.
school lockdown.
Yep. Lockdown, a little quiet one.
No, it was great. I was following that. I was disappointed. I was working that day. I couldn't get down there. I was really looking forward to it. But I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to this. And I'm like, shit, it's on Tuesday, like 2 o'clock. I can't do that. Yeah.
Family First, building something that lasts. What kind of support system do you wish you had as a teenager?
Look, I look back at my life and haven't obviously spoken about this with a lot of people of what's happened in my life. And I never found anyone at school that I could talk to, or I had one teacher that cried on my last day when we told him we were leaving. He was my maths teacher and I loved him. He actually made me enjoy maths.
Yeah.
There's probably never anyone out there that I could go, yeah, I really, like I got all mine out in music and sport and dancing. I kind of coped that way. Family First is heading in the same direction with support services, with children with disabilities, with mental health, with addiction.
Yeah.
That's the plan for Family First moving forward. It's going to be quite big, I think, eventually.
Yeah, good.
What do you want people to feel when they see the name Family First?
I guess we get it now. I had an old guy, I had this jumper on, which is my Family First jumper, yesterday at the petrol station. He goes, petrol station.
I didn't even have to instigate it. It was good.
And he looked at me and he was a really, really old man. And he looked at me and goes, yeah, Family First, go you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I love that. I just want people to realise that also family's not blood
Damn
also.
right. Yeah.
And that's probably a big one to who we are too. Like we've surrounded ourselves in all these people that we call our family and we get our kids to call uncle and auntie.
Yeah.
And that's because that's our little village and
Yeah.
it's not little, it's quite a big village. And that's what we really want people to realise. There's families in businesses like ours,
Yeah.
businesses like yours.
We do all right. We're kind of getting up into the wrap-up part, but is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we go any further? Is there anything we haven't covered that you'd like to get out there?
No, I guess there's people out there to talk to, people that have lived a life,
Yeah.
people that are going through what you're going through. Just reach out, send a message.
You are involved with Complete Health Geelong now, is that correct?
I'm trying to link up with them at the
Yeah.
moment. They do a lot of the holistic stuff,
Yep.
which is what I'm all about and what they're all about, which is really nice. Just so people don't realise they don't have to sit in a white room, talk about their feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for everyone,
Yeah.
and that's okay. But you need something to go to. You need a purpose. You need something that you love.
Yeah. So you recently completed studies.
I've completed my Cert 4 in mental health.
Yep.
I'm currently studying my Cert 4 in education support. And next month I start my Cert 4 in alcohol and other drugs.
Nice. No,
Cool.
that's
Very good.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're here to support. We're here to talk if you need to. But we're also here not to talk. If you just reach out and say, can we go for a walk? Can we go for a dinner? Can we go for a ride?
Underrated.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if someone is listening today and feels stuck in survival mode, what do you want them to hear in your story?
Keep going. There's always light on the other side of the tunnel. Just push through if you can. If you can't, it's also okay, but try and keep yourself busy and try and work around that. Try and find people that can support you.
Find your purpose.
Yep, find your purpose. That's a big one.
Yeah. Good job. What would a 20-year-old Tayla think if she could see you sitting here right now?
Well, who is this person? I was pretty broken back then.
Yeah.
Just living life, I guess, every day. I still do the same now. Day by day is my motto.
Yeah.
But I didn't think I'd be able to make a difference in people's lives, and here I am.
Constant. That's great.
Yep.
One final question, Ambo. You got this one?
What does Twist the Throttle mean to you?
Twisted Throttle has been twisted. Why did I say that? Twist the Throttle has been really helpful for me too. I've listened to every podcast almost. It's nice to have real people out in our community, no matter where we are, talk about similar things and get it out there and have more people understand that it's okay not to be okay, which is a big one my husband says a lot.
Yep.
And our motto is talk, listen, save a life. So
love that. I love that. I want to get that as a sticker. I want one of those T-shirts that you'd make. I missed out on the last one. I was like, can I get one of them? Because it's pre-order. Darn it. All right. So thank you very much for coming back. Thank you for sharing your story. Hopefully we can get some people listening and make a difference for them. Anyone with fibro, reach out. There is help out there.
Yep.
Anyone who's gone through abuse, there is help out there. Anyone who's in the Geelong area and wants their kid picked up from school by a bunch of bikers, give us a call. Thank you so much for your time, mate.
Thank you for having me.
Tayla.
Really appreciate it.
Bye.
Thanks for riding with us today on Twist the Throttle. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your crew. Remember, no matter how tough the road gets, you're never riding alone. Stay safe, stay open, and catch you on the next ride. Keep that throttle twisted.